All right, everyone. When you think of a hippopotamus, what comes to mind? Probably a giant, super tough animal just chilling in the water, right? Well, what if I told you that's only half the story? Today, we're going to look at the hippo's hidden daily battle, a crazy, stressful cycle that honestly makes you wonder how this animal even exists. So let's just start with a really big, kind of shocking question. Is the hippo basically a biological mistake? I know, that sounds harsh, but trust me, by the end of this, you'll see why this amazing animal is also seen as a fascinating, walking contradiction. And yeah, this is the image we all have. A huge, powerful creature, one of the biggest land animals on the whole planet. They're known for being aggressive and incredibly strong. You look at them and you just think, wow, that thing is invincible. But that tough guy exterior, it's hiding an animal that's trapped in a really brutal daily loop. They're dealing with a constant, stressful problem that you would never ever guess just by looking at them. So what is this secret struggle? Let's dive in. Okay, first, let's talk about where they spend most of their time. The water. You'd think that's their safe space, their comfort zone. But the water holds a secret danger that is just not what you'd expect at all. So this right here, this is one of the biggest myths about hippos. We see them in the water and we just assume they're amazing swimmers. But the truth is, they can't swim, not at all. Their bodies are way too dense to float. So instead, they actually run, or kind of gallop, along the bottom of the river. But here's the crazy part. They can't breathe underwater. So if they accidentally wander into a part of the river that's too deep for them to push off the bottom and get a gulp of air, they can actually drown. Think about it like this. Imagine you had to spend your whole day walking around on the bottom of a swimming pool. Every few minutes, you'd have to desperately jump up to the surface to catch your breath before sinking back down. How exhausting would that be? And super stressful, right? Well, that is a hippo's reality every single day. So you're probably thinking, okay, if the water is so dangerous, why don't they just hang out on land? Well, that's a great question, and it leads us right to the second part of their big problem. They have to leave the water for one very simple reason. They gotta eat. And they need to eat a ton. I mean, to fuel that gigantic body, a single hippo needs to munch on about 80 pounds. That's like 35 kilograms of grass every single night. And you can't find that much grass in the water. They have to come out onto land to get it. And this perfectly captures the hippo's terrible dilemma. On one hand, you've got this massive appetite that forces them onto land for hours and hours of grazing. But on the other hand, their skin is incredibly sensitive. They don't have fur or feathers to protect them, so the hot African sun is a huge enemy. If they stay out too long, their skin will literally start to crack, burn, and even bleed. Here's another way to imagine it. Let's say you are absolutely starving, so you go outside to eat your lunch. But after maybe 5 or 10 minutes in the sun, you start getting a really, really painful sunburn. You'd have to run back inside, wouldn't you? But wait. You're still hungry. That is the choice a hippo has to make all the time. So now let's put it all together. Let's see how these two giant problems, the risk of drowning and the risk of burning, create this awful, never-ending loop. They don't just exist side by side. They actually feed into each other and trap the hippo in this relentless cycle. Let's walk through it. So step 1, the hippo gets hungry. That forces it out onto land. Step 2, it spends hours trying to eat that 80 pounds of grass. But while it's eating, step 3 happens. Its super sensitive skin starts to burn. That leads to step 4. It has to give up on eating and rush back into the water to cool off. But then we get to step 5. It's safe from the sun, but guess what? It's still hungry. So the whole desperate cycle starts all over again. Go to land, get burned, run to the water, stay hungry. Over and over and over. This whole situation is what we call a biological glitch. It's basically when an animal has traits that are working against each other. For the poor hippo, it's the need to be on land to eat, fighting against the need to be in the water to not get burned. Its whole life is just a constant, stressful balancing act between two terrible options: starving or burning. Whew, that is a lot to take in about our surprisingly fragile friend, the hippo. So let's do a really quick review to make sure we've got the main ideas down. All right, first review question. Why is the sun such a huge problem for a hippo that's trying to eat? Well, we learned it's because its skin is so sensitive that it burns super fast, which forces it to run back to the water long before it's actually eaten enough food. And for our second question, what is the hippo's biggest weakness in the water? This is the big myth we busted today, remember? It's that they can't actually swim. They have to run on the bottom, so they can drown if the water gets too deep. The one place that saves them from the sun is also full of danger. So the next time you see a hippo, I want you to remember this quote. They are incredible, powerful animals for sure, but they are also trapped in one of nature's toughest spots, caught right between a burning sun and an empty stomach. It's just a great reminder that survival out there is often way more complicated and way more challenging than it looks. Thanks for listening.